conspiracy to commit murder.
All right, y'all, you're locked in here to the Midwest Mayhem.
I still always want to show up, and that's just, I have not lost any passion for the job.
Welcome to the Midwest Mayhem Podcast with your host Tyler and Lockie. This is where small town stories, wild headlines, and real conversations come together. We also shine a light on first responders, veterans, and on mental health. Because every voice deserves to be heard. This is the Midwest Mayhem Podcast.
I've been an open book about mental health.
From a federal prison.
Your fake leader hiding behind the title.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Midwest Mayhem Podcast. I am your host Tyler.
And I'm Lockie.
And we are in studio today. Our guest is not in studio with us, however. We do have Maddy Gartner. Is it Gartner? Gartner. On the phone with us. She's not able to be in studio. We wanted to do this over the phone. So, I'm very excited. This is our first SFCAD person.
It is, yes.
So, it's not Washco for once. We love our Washco friends, but we're so excited to have you here with us. So, on Voices of Valor, Maddy is our ninth guest here, and we're so excited to have her. She's a full-time paramedic with San Francisco County Ambulance District, a dedicated, if I can talk today, EMS professional with 10 years of service, a wife, and a brand new mom to twin little girls. That is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, and what's really cool is Maddie's a twin herself. So I was wondering when that was going to fall from that tree, Maddy.
Yep, it was me.
I didn't know that. I didn't know she was a twin.
Yes, she is, yes.
Wow. Neat. So, Maddy has spent nearly a decade serving her community with balancing the demand of emergency medicine, family life, and now motherhood alongside her husband, Kyle, who is also a paramedic. Maddy, thank you again for being here with us today, and thank you for everything you're doing for the community and keeping up on all of your certs and training and keeping the community going. We really appreciate you being here with us.
I am grateful for the opportunity.
We are so excited. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what first drew you into EMS.
I'm originally from Washington County. My whole family lives over there, but I've lived in St. John County my whole life.
Oh.
I wouldn't say anything drew me to EMS. I was dead set on being a vet. Was an ag kid my whole high school career. I needed one class to graduate. And I took Dustin Tate's EMR class, and the rest is history.
Good deal.
Leave it to Dustin Tate to inspire people.
Right.
But, well, that's neat. I didn't know you were from Washington County, and I also didn't know you were a twin, so I'm learning all kinds of stuff about you today. It seems like Lockie knows you a little bit better than I do.
I do. I had her
Just a smidge.
Yeah, and she's a sweet little gal. She really is, and I think she is seen a lot, and she is very dedicated to her job, and she's a wonderful paramedic, so I'm glad that we have her today.
I have worked alongside of her when I ran with Bismarck and Leadwood back in the day, and I've known her through a couple of people that I know, so we're friends on Facebook, so that counts, right? That means you know everybody?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It does.
Perfect. That's all that matters here. So, was there a specific moment, call, person that made you realize this was the career for you? Because you said you wanted to be a vet.
When I took Dustin's EMR class, I fell in love with this career, and I realized I wanted to work with humans more than I wanted to work with animals.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, no joke.
It is. And I had all my requirements done to graduate high school, and I was just like, I'm going to take the EMT class. And Dean Minnick made me come interview because I was still a senior in high school, allowed me to take EMT. And when I started doing rides there, I just fell in love with everything about this career and realized that I like helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do it for the rest of my life.
That's awesome.
Well, I think Lockie can join you there because Lockie loves EMS and everything she does in it, and it's a very, very important job. And I hate to say this, but it's kind of an unnoticed job. Not that people don't know what you do, but you get called ambulance drivers quite a bit.
every day.
Yeah, so we don't. I don't refer to you as ambulance drivers. Maybe Locke every once in a while, but it's just because I love her.
Usually well, yeah, you do. That's true.
But yeah, so you've been in EMS for 10 years now, which is, I mean, a decade. You've seen a lot change just in 10 years. So what made SFCAD feel like home, and what's kept you there for the last 9 years that you've been doing this?
I always wanted, when I started here, to work where I lived and help the community that I've seen every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I started my career in EMS in St. Louis City, working at Abbott, and it taught me a lot about being a provider, but I wanted to bring that home and help the people that I might just see in Walmart or out at dinner. And the changes that have occurred in that time frame really made me think that I made the right decision in coming home and staying here for the last 9 of my career. I met my best friends here. I met my husband at work. I would have never got any of that if I would have come home to Francis County.
So, Maddy, I didn't realize that you had worked for Abbott, and I probably did, and it slipped my mind. Were you a paramedic? Had you gotten your paramedic license and worked at Abbott, or were you just the EMT, and then when you transitioned here, your paramedic career began at St. Francis County, not at Abbott? Or because I guess
my paramedic career began at St. Francis County. I had my license at Abbott, but I was on the process of leaving.
Okay.
When I tested and passed.
Okay.
I had gotten full-time down here at that point.
Well, and can you share just a little bit of, like, what is a difference? Because I know a lot of us do start out in the services like that with Abbott, but what would be something that is a big change working in a service like Abbott versus how we work for our ambulance districts here?
The biggest differences that I've always seen is the camaraderie that you feel between a big company like Abbott
Mm-hmm.
and a smaller company like that we work for down here. And up in the city, it's a lot of pick them up, put them on your stretcher, take them to the hospital.
Right.
Down here, you get to play a little bit more. You get to actually treat your patients. You get to know them. And you have them for a longer period of time, so you have to be sharper in your skill set and in your critical thinking processes to care for your patients.
Right.
Yeah, that was a good question. Like, I didn't even think about that to ask that. See, this is why we keep Lockie around. She comes up with all kinds of off the walls.
Well, and I know as an EMT, a lot of times in a city like Abbott, it's not a district, but ambulance service, you're a BLS provider. You do transports. What is scary to me is, they'll do a BLS truck, but it'll be a gunshot victim. Well, there's nothing really you can do.
I've had those.
Right, and that's what I think. I know people make fun of and pick back and forth about AMR, Abbott, or whatever, but you really do. You have to learn as a EMT. You better get at least a decent skill set. Mm-hmm. And I know that's how it is down here in some of our rural areas, because the district I started out in, we still ran BLS crews. So I had to figure some things out as a BLS provider because I didn't have my paramedic in the back of my pocket. And so
I agree. I have told most of our EMT students through SFCAD that if you can go be on a BLS truck, do it.
Yes, absolutely.
It is terrifying.
It is.
But it teaches you how to be a good provider.
Yes. Well, and I think, too, it's always so different to take our patients from our rural setting into the city. And, a lot of times I'll drop a patient off and and majority of the time, I mean, like you said, we know them by the first name. We know the family or whatever. And it'll be, see you later. Let us know how you guys are doing when you get home. And those city nurses, they'll look at you like, what the hell? Why are you being that nice? And how do you know these people? And that's what I love about our, like you said, there's just such a good family within our district, but outside in the community. And it's nice to have that.
Yes.
All right, Tyler. Sorry,
No, you are all good, Locke. You are what keeps this ball rolling here. You bring all the fun details. I'm just the boring script reader. Anywho, so now that you're with St. Francis County, I mean, like you said, it is basically like home. So walk us through what a typical shift looks like for you as a full-time paramedic. We're talking from the time you clock in to the time you clock out. Just give us some details so our listeners kind of understand that listen in the St. Francis County area, what you guys do when you clock in and clock out.
So when we get there, I'm fortunate to work with one of my best friends almost every single rotation. So her and I will get to work. We'll do a truck check. Depending on what day of the week it is, depends on how detailed our checks get. Our first days on, we go through every piece of equipment, log it into our operative IQ system, check all our drug boxes, make sure everything's ready to go, fuel, oxygen, all those things. Try to get some breakfast in. Not always the easiest thing before we get going in our day. And right now, the way it's been, we're running our first call in the first 30 minutes of our shift and just going from there.
Now, you guys have 5 houses, correct? You have the 1, 2, and 3, which operate ambulances out of. And then 4 is your med house, correct? Your restock house with the supervisor. And then 5 is also a rig house, correct?
Yes, and they just added an ambulance at our house for base.
Oh, they
wow.
did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We added a 1 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Wow.
Well, that's got to be some kind of help.
Very much so.
Well, and that's what I was talking, I guess, we're 11 days into the new year, and already it's ridiculous the calls we're running. And I mean, we've had a lot going on in our counties, and I spoke to a person today, and she said, okay, well, we're, hopefully this is all going to start winding down, but we've pretty much come right out of the chute this year in the entire area. And it's not been easy.
Very much so.
11 days in, and it's not easy. So I can only imagine. Well, that's good to know. I didn't realize. I know that was being discussed. So what was your calls total for 2025 for those that may not have Facebook to see it?
17,542, I believe.
That is a lot of calls.
Yeah.
For
a lot.
I mean, St. Francis County, it's not small by any means, but I mean, it's not as big as some counties. I mean, Jefferson County, if you look at that, Jefferson County is a lot bigger, but Jefferson County doesn't run a county ambulance.
Right.
Like they've got multiple, but I mean, that's a lot of calls for St. Francis County.
Keeps us busy.
So, Maddy, are you day shift or are you still?
I am day shift now. I'm 9 to 9 days.
Okay, and then Kyle is day or night?
1 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Okay. So, and that'll come into our family section to kind of give an idea of how you guys run that, because I know that can be interesting.
Yeah,
Very.
I completely forgot your husband was a paramedic until we got back into this, and I got to reading your script. I was like, oh, wait, that's neat to know. But so EMS can be unpredictable. I can't talk today, don't mind me. EMS can be unpredictable and demanding. What do you think people outside the profession don't fully understand about this job? Because, again, a lot of people refer to you guys as ambulance drivers. I don't like that term, but I help our listeners understand what you guys truly, truly do and give them an inside look.
I think people don't understand the most of what goes in to being a paramedic or an EMT and what it looks like. A lot of people do think we are just ambulance drivers, and they don't see the treatment and the critical thinking processes behind it that allow us to best treat our patients. And not even that, what we have to do day to day to maintain bases and ambulances, and that goes into not just treating patients, writing reports.
Mm-hmm.
We don't just go sit all day and watch TV. It is a perk. We do get to do that sometimes. But it's not very often. There's almost always something we can be doing throughout our days.
And I mean, you guys are so busy that you guys don't work the traditional 24 to 48-hour shifts. You guys work 12-hour shifts.
Yes, we work 6/12s.
So, I mean, that right there tells you how busy you guys are. That I truly don't think you guys could do 24 hours because you guys would run non-stop.
I don't think we could either.
Well, and that's just it. What people don't understand when you run a 12-hour truck, because that was my last gig on the EMS or on the 911 side. And Maddy, you can probably, like you said, we start shift at 8:00 at St. Fran or at Washington County, and I can literally be checking the truck and 8:15 I leave, and it's 5:15 before I come back to the station. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. Now, like you said, there are days that I don't run the call until noon, and it's to a nursing home. We drop them off at the hospital, and I may not run another call until 5 p.m. And so there is that downtime. But, you know, we're also sometimes cleaning the station, restocking, cleaning our ambulance, you know, and so it isn't always just downtime and enjoy sitting in the recliner. And I don't think a lot of people understand that.
And you know, I will give San Francisco County some credit. When I took my EMT course, my ride-alongs were done with San Francisco County, and it was like January or February, and like at the end of their shift, they washed their rigs. So here it is, like 10 degrees outside, and they're outside just scrubbing them things to where they're just immaculately clean. About froze your hands off, but they like to take pride in their rigs, and so do you guys. Anybody around here that I see, ambulances are always clean unless it's snow and salty outside. So kudos to you guys on that, especially in the cold.
It's not the funnest time to wash an ambulance, but we managed to get it done.
So now, do you all rotate houses too, or do you pretty much stay at house one? What is your rotation?
We all rotate houses now.
Okay.
Number one was originally only at house one. Now they're only at house one and house four. 9 to 9s go to every base, but house 5 and house 4. And 7 to 7s rotate through everything but house 4.
Well,
we have month-long rotations.
Okay. And I
And then we
always
switch again.
I always love trying to explain to a non-EMS person or a non, 12-hour, 24, 48-hour shift of, okay, so I work this so many days and I'm off so many days, and you can tell they're like, how do you even know what you're doing? Do you have a favorite house that you like to work out of?
I would say, and anybody that listens that works there is probably going to think I'm crazy, house 1 is probably my favorite.
No, your personality is totally that. I can understand that completely.
Is it because you're right there in Farmington and that's where all the good food is? Because that's probably what my reason would be.
It does help
There we go.
a lot. I got really used to house 1 at the end of my pregnancy. I was pregnant with twins. I worked up until I was 34 weeks. So I stayed in Farmington, so I had a full-time fire department
Yes.
There you
to
go.
help me
Yes.
through the last few months of my pregnancy.
Well, good. That's good to know. But I could see you wanting to be, because they're very busy at house, which anymore, even house 5 is busy.
Yeah.
But I know at house 1, we have certain people that prefer our house 1 because it is busy. They do have, the fire department to help a little bit better, which we always have to give mad props to our volunteer fire department. But it is always nice to know that you do have extra backup if you need it, especially in your case.
Agreed.
So
Again, to our listeners who don't know how this works, in this area, you've got, in Washington County, you got 5 departments of fire. One of them is paid / volunteer. The rest are volunteer. San Francisco County, I couldn't tell you the amount, but the majority of them are either paid per call or volunteer. And then there's one full-time station, which is in Farmington. So for those of you who don't know, that haven't listened to our other episodes, make sure you go volunteer if you're in the shape, and they will provide the training and all that good stuff. So make sure you go sign up and help them out, because volunteer, the well is starting to run dry.
yes.
So
Very much so.
So Maddy, what keeps you coming back shift after shift, even on the toughest days? Because now that you're a mom, I'm sure you've had some pretty rough ones.
I truly love this job. I tell all of my students, I tell anybody that asks me about this career, if you don't love it, you will burn out very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I come back because I love treating people, and I love getting to come to work every single day.
Well, and what needs to be known about Maddy is that we use the term shit magnet often. I think she has a extra force of magnitude. This poor child, you may hear about a bad call or whatever. Well, who was the crew? Maddy. And usually it was with Rick. But It's always this kid to be, which I didn't, Maddy, I can't believe it's been this long that you've been doing this.
I can't either.
Job. I really can't. But I mean, she has been through a lot of calls, and Maddy's the one that it's just, you think it's going to be your normal, difficulty breathing. within 15 minutes, Maddie's intubating. She's doing this. She's doing. I mean, it goes sideways so fast for Maddie, and that's one thing that I try always to acknowledge the ones that I've sat back and watched or been a part of. Maddie she holds it very well, and she's a little spitfire. She's not very, Maddie, you're what, 5'4", 5'5"?
Not even.
So I gave you some, kiddo. But I mean, she's a little spitfire, but I tell you what, she can hold her own with anything. And I've always been very impressed with how she treats people and how she handles things. She's a very strong young lady. She really is.
Absolutely. I've worked some calls with her. I think we worked a car wreck or whatever or two, but definitely held her own, even on the where you need multiple ambulances. I mean, you've got them running ragged. You got paramedics here, paramedics over here. You don't know what rig they're in, and they do a great job. Maddie does for sure a excellent job. So I'll give you that myself. I don't know you all that well, but Lockie knows you a little bit better. But from what I've seen and where worked with you, I cannot talk today, Lockie. I got a mouthful of I don't know what. Anywho, good job. You're great at what you do, and we're so glad to have you here. How does the job change from when you first started to now? So we're looking 10 years ago. 10 years in EMS. That's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So how has it changed?
I think the biggest changes that I see, and I'm a nerd when it comes to protocol and reasonings why, is the evolution of how we can treat patients and what we have in our drug boxes and the ways we can utilize them.
I think she's the second one that has noted that as well.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Maddie. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, honey.
Oh, you're okay. There's certain drugs that when I started, we used them for this and this only, labetalol for hypertension and only hypertension. And then, being a nerd, one day I had a call with a patient that I really needed some rate control on, and I talked to a doctor and they told me to use labetalol and gave me a verbal order. And next thing you know, now it's in our protocols that we can use it for AFib RVR and rate control things as a push because it works.
Mm-hmm.
And it works beautifully. It worked beautifully in my case. And those type of things, just the evolution of we had specific drugs for specific things, and now they work for a whole host of things.
That's neat.
Yeah, knowing that you started that, I mean, that's really cool. You can look back one day and be like, you know what, kids, I started that. Anywho, so I do, before we go to commercial break here in just a little bit, I do want to get into the touchier stuff and the whole reason why Lockie and I started this podcast. We're going to talk about a couple calls that have stuck with you and things like that. So every paramedic has that call that sticks with them without breaking privacy, obviously. Can you share one that has left a lasting impact on you?
I have more than one, but one very much gives away. Anybody that's close to me knows that this car wreck almost ended my career for several reasons, besides what it was in general, but having another provider telling me to suck it up that I wasn't allowed to cry without ever knowing why I was in tears in the first place.
I love those hard-ass guys that are just ever so perfect, that have no feelings. They're just so great. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yep. No, you're okay. We had a very long conversation after. It was very one-sided, with me doing a lot of yelling.
Good for you. That's why I love you, kiddo.
But one of the most memorable calls that I've ran recently, I actually ran with my husband. A very touchy subject, especially being a mother. I had a female that was having a baby that just refused to do anything to help herself or her baby.
Mm-hmm.
And her baby ended up passing away. And she told me she didn't care.
Wow.
I remember standing in the middle of this hallway, begging for anybody to come help, because I'm trying to get her to help herself and to help this child. And I was just alone. Kyle was trying to find us more help than what we had.
Mm-hmm.
And she just didn't care. And I never got it then. And now as a mother, I would never understand.
No, and sometimes that's where I because I think we all, especially doing this job, but in life in general, we always want to know why this, why that. But I have come finally in 50 years of a little bit of wisdom. I'm not going to get the answer to why. And I'm often glad because I don't share those same personality traits or those same values, because I wouldn't want to know why in some of those cases. I'm glad I'm
Agreed.
not that person. And I hope that I'm sorry that you had to experience that. That's what always breaks my heart for you kids that are doing this, are the new moms, the new dads. And it seems like for some reason, I don't know if what little trick is played in the universe or whatever, but you guys have a tendency to get a call like that. And I don't know if it's a way of giving a good reality check and saying, hey, you are a parent or whatever. But I always hate when my new parents of the kids I work with will have to deal with that. And I can't imagine, because I know how you are. I know enough about you to know how you are. And I'm sure that was very difficult.
So that is a tough call to kick off with, if I can talk today. So thank you for sharing that with us, Maddy. Now, on the flip side, is there a call that reminds you why you chose this career? One that made you proud to wear the uniform?
Yes, I worked at NBA. It was one of those calls that made you be a paramedic. There was a lot of things wrong with both of our patients, and we really had to work together as a team. We had 2 ambulances, a supervisor, a helicopter coming from Illinois with like a 33-minute ETA.
Dang.
And not a lot of time to get anything accomplished on one patient. And our other patient, she was significantly worse off. And I remember thinking after that call, this is why I do what I do. I'm good with picking mama or papa's up off the ground all day long. I've had some of my best conversations that way, but calls like that, where I really have to put my critical thinking skills to use, and I get to do a lot of things, remind me why I love this job so much.
That's fantastic. And I think every one of us have one of those calls that just reminds us why we do what we do. Just sticks with us, and you always see that person's face. I've got mine. I know Lockie's got hers. And it's a great feeling. I can't explain it. You just basically have to live it. I mean,
well, and I think sometimes, I know for me, and not with the skill set of an EMT, it is much, much different than a paramedic. And, if you run with a critical care paramedic, and protocols in every district is different. But sometimes, like you said, I love my little picking up mom and pop off the floor, great conversation. But when you get to be in that heat of the moment, and all of this stuff just naturally flows from your fingertips, it's like, wow, I'm truly using my skill set. I'm that critical thinking. It's a good, rewarding feeling.
Absolutely.
So
fantastic. I mean, I just can't, I was trying to think of a way to describe it, and I just can't. I mean, it's inspiring, I guess. That's the best way I can put it. It's just inspirational for sure. So after difficult calls, how do you mentally reset, especially when there's time in between them?
Depending on who I'm working with, really not, because no matter what. I love a good jam session. I'll connect to the radio.
Yes.
Listen to some good music. Depending on the time of the year, you might get a Christmas tune or two.
Yes.
And as heartless as it may seem to some, just joking and carrying on, finding something to laugh about, whether it's the fact that Kylie hit the 87th curb for the day, or asked for a sodium level checker, even though everybody knows they don't exist. Just finding the little joy in it, to just reset and go on.
And that I know that it's so hard to find people that understand that sense of humor, because, and like I always say, I just sometimes we have to joke, because if not, we're all going to be standing there crying. And those are some of the best moments of sitting in the back of the ambulance, restocking after those calls and just taking that time to decompress, but with a different twist and a different, a sense of humor, because it's people just don't understand that what we do and sometimes have to just put up with sometimes. But it's the fun things that I'm like you. I love a good jam session. That's always the best. Or, going and getting an ice cream or whatever. I don't know but it's just a good way to kind of bring it back and circle back around and forget about what you just did. So.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And speaking of a break, I say we go to commercial break real quick. Here's a word from our fantastic sponsors. We cannot thank them enough. Make sure you check them out. We got great info coming up, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, Tyler here, Midwest Mayhem Podcast. If you're looking for a trusted local firearms dealer with real knowledge and real service, check out Frontline Armory, a veteran-owned and operated business located right here in Farmington, Missouri. Frontline Armory offers a wide selection of firearms, suppressors, ammunition, holsters, optics, tactical gear, and quality firearm accessories, all with a strong focus on education, safety, and responsible ownership. Whether you're a first-time buyer, an experienced owner, or someone interested in learning more about suppression and the process involved, their knowledgeable team takes the time to answer questions and walk you through your operation. No pressure, no gimmicks. You can find Frontline Armory at 201 West Karsh Boulevard, Unit B in Farmington, or give them a call at 573-463-6262. You can also learn more by visiting them at thefrontlinearmory.com or follow Frontline Armory on Facebook to stay up to date on inventory and announcements. And when you stop in, go see my friends Nathan and Craig and tell them Midwest Mayhem sent you. The Frontline Armory, veteran-owned, community-focused, and proud to serve Southeast Missouri. Hey guys, Tyler here, Midwest Mayhem Podcast, and I want to take a second today and talk about how every call leaves a mark. Some we talk about, and some we carry quietly. Being a first responder isn't just a job, it's a calling. And for those of us who've served, we know the weight that comes with it. I've been in the first responder service myself. I've seen calls that stick with you, the moments you don't always talk about, and the toll that this job can take long after the sirens stop. That's why Leadwood Fire Protection District is proud to host a free first responder mental health seminar created for those who serve, police, fire, EMS, and dispatch. This seminar is about more than education. It's about reminding every responder that strength isn't silence and no one should carry the weight of this job alone. You should join us on March 28, 2026 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at West County Middle School in Leadwood. We'll hear from featured keynote speakers Valerie Beeson and Kevin Kapler, including a live Q&A panel after Kevin speaks, along with on-site resources, vendors, food trucks, and giveaways. This event is completely free and open to all first responders. Lockie and I from Midwest Mayhem will be live on location, and Midwest Mayhem will have a booth set up where you can sign up for Voices of Valor, connect with us, and grab plenty of trinkets and giveaways throughout the day. If you ever felt the pressure, the stress, or the unseen side of this work, this day is for you. For more information, you can visit our website, www.midwestmayhempodcast.com. You can email Leadwood Fire at leadwoodfireprotectiondistrict@gmail.com, or you can visit our Facebook page or Leadwood Fire Protection District's Facebook page for more information, because taking care of others starts with taking care of ourselves. Attention Potosi, there's a new mission in town. Checkpoint Coffee and Canteen. This veteran-owned coffee shop isn't just about caffeine, it's about community. From rich espressos to hearty meals, every order fuels a story. Yours, ours, and the heroes we honor every day. Step inside and you'll find more than just a cup of coffee. You'll find a place where veterans, first responders, and locals come together shoulder to shoulder. So whether you're starting your morning patrol, catching up with friends, or needing that midday refuel, Checkpoint Coffee and Canteen has you covered. Located at 205 East High Street in Potosi, Checkpoint Coffee and Canteen, where service never sleeps and every cup counts. All right, we are back from our commercial break. That was a word from our fantastic sponsors, Checkpoint Coffee and Canteen, Frontline Armory in Farmington. We cannot thank those guys enough. You also heard a commercial about our free first responder mental health event we got coming up in March, and we'll talk more about that later. And we're back here on the phone with Maddy Gartner. She is a paramedic with San Francisco County, and we're going to jump into some marriage and motherhood stuff and talk about a little bit about her life off of the truck. So you and your husband Kyle are both paramedics. What's that dynamic like at home?
It gets pretty interesting around here. We are both a sucker for a good case study, so we do spend a lot of time talking about case studies, going over calls, and just relaying our days to one another, figuring out where we could have been better as a provider, or what one would have done differently than the other. But we also spend a lot of time with our horses and our dogs and our 2 babies now.
Yes.
And our chickens. Can't forget the chickens.
And I think that's a good break too, because I think that has we have a tendency, if we are involved with a person that is in the same career, especially one like this, that becomes your life at work and your life at home. And now you guys have other things that, you can, I think it's so cute that you all do the case studies. That just makes me smile big time for you guys. But then you can also put all that day aside, spend time with those babies, go out with the chickens, and do that. That's good to know, because that truly is the balance. You have to have that balance. I think that prevents the burnout. It prevents a relationship that the stress in a relationship, that you both can have something else to do, that it's not constant work talk, shop talk, as they like to call it.
It's very important, and it did take us quite a while to figure out the balance between it, of where we need to cut it off and say, all right, we're done with work talk. Let's go ride our horses, or go outside with the girls and go for a walk, or do whatever.
And I think that I truly believe that's a door stopper for burnout right there. Finding when to know when to cut it off about talking about work or whatever, and just going and enjoying something you both enjoy, whether it be a case study, riding your horses, hanging out with the kiddos. That right there, you two having each other to lean on, is a very important thing. Having a partner that understands, especially with you both working where you work. You guys not only see calls, you guys know how your admin is, you just know everything about it. You guys just lean on each other. It's a very important thing, in my opinion.
Agree, 100%.
So how do you support each other in a profession that already asks so much from both of you?
It depends on the day-to-day. Like, we both have ran calls together and separately that just weigh on you and that you can't get away from. And we tried on those days to really take care of one another. If I know he's worked really crappy calls that day, or just had a really sick patient, I'll try to make sure everything's taken care of at home, make sure he's got a good meal. I like to bake, so I'll make him something. And then on the flip side with me, if he knows I've had a really bad day, he also knows I'm a sucker for gas station flower bouquets, so I'll usually get one of those.
That's
some sweet treats.
Sweet. Yes.
Or he'll just DoorDash me something to wherever I'm at, because he knows if I get into a bad day that I'll forget to eat and not take care of myself. So he really pushes to make sure that I'm taken care of. Then when we get home, we have a hard rule on bad days to not talk about the bad days right then. We'll watch a movie, we'll game, go to the barn, do a project, do something, but not dwell on what it was at that time. Doesn't mean we won't come back and talk about it later, but right then and there, we try to focus on a more positive shift to just take your mind off of it for then.
That's very healthy too. And did you all, and definitely not going into specifics, but did you have a point where you had to have the hard conversation of, okay, when you get home, this is how it's going to be. We can't do this. We can't function. Do you take time for yourself? Do you say, okay, Kyle, I need 10 minutes just in the bathroom to just sit in there in silence, or go to the barn by myself? At what point did you realize that you really had, because you used the word, it was the hard, this is what it is. And do you ever break that boundary? Because that's sometimes I think we have a tendency to do that.
We had hard calls. We worked together as almost full-time partners for 2 or 3 years before I transitioned to days. And when we first started our relationship. So we got to a point where he was still an EMT, I was a medic, he was in medic school. Mm-hmm. But there was that difference in power dynamic, and it did cause us issues for a little bit. I'm pretty stubborn and hard-headed. He's a very intelligent person who's been in this world for a long time. between the military and civilian
Mhm.
medicine. And for the sake of our relationship, we had to say, okay, at this point, we're done.
Uh-huh.
And we know each other's tells when we're both getting annoyed with one another to say, all right, it's time to take a minute. If I know he's having a bad day or a bad calls, or he's just brought it home and I can tell it's heavy, I'll tell him, hey, go outside, work on something, go run the tractor, brush hog, go chop wood, whatever you want to do, because he's a very hands-on type person. If I've had a bad day, in the same retrospect, he'll say, let's get this kitchen cleaned up if it's dirty, and why don't you bake something, or why don't you go get your nails done, or just go to the barn, whatever you need to do, read a book, however you need to get your brain to take a break.
Well, and I think this is good because we've not had this conversation with any of our guests, because it's not a rare situation to have two providers in a marriage, but I don't think we have had anybody until you and Kyle.
Yeah.
And I think this is good. I mean, I know everything's not perfect, and anybody who thinks it is crazy, but this is very healthy. And I think this is for those of our listeners that do listen and are married to or in a relationship with a person in EMS or fire service, whatever. I think listening to what Maddy is talking about is very healthy, and it's good information. And so, I'm glad to hear that you all have boundaries set. You know each other well enough, and it sounds like there's a lot of respect for each other, both as providers, but yet also as parents, as spouse, and that's very healthy, and that's good to hear.
Absolutely. And like you said, we haven't had this dynamic before, so it's another resource we can provide to whoever may be married to somebody and may be struggling or may not be. But very, very good information for sure. So becoming a mom to two twin girls definitely is life-changing. I have a friend of mine that has two twin little girls, and sometimes life is a little bit on the edge with them, but I know they're a handful. How has motherhood reshaped the way that you look at your job? Because you now have two little girls, and you have to worry about what calls you run and what you see and what you might hear. And how does that affect you?
I think overall, it has made me a more compassionate provider. Now I think I look at things through a mother's eyes, and I think that every one of my patients has a mom. And I would hope that I'm treating them with the respect and care to the level that somebody would treat my girls if the roles were reversed. But I do think more about certain calls, certain situations, safety aspects, because I want to go home to my children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think all providers, I think the majority of the ones that have children, I don't have kids, so I can't speak on this outlook, but Lockie, you have kids. Every provider has that outlook of we want to go home, we want to see our husband or wife or children. That's a very good outlook to have, because it not only keeps you safe, you know that your partner may have a family, you both want to go home at the end of the day. Well, EMS, police, fire, no matter what you're in, you can always be put in a sticky situation. So, but that is a very good outlook to have for sure.
Well, and Maddy, I think almost every person that we've talked to, or just that I know personally, that went from, being not a parent to a parent, how it does change things. And I love how you put that because I've always been that way, and I'm not definitely trying to act like because I can be mean and hateful. But that is one thing that I think is missing in this line of work sometimes, is that person we are dealing with, they are somebody. They are somebody's parent. They are somebody's child. They are somebody's aunt or uncle. And I don't know that that's always thought of. And so I'm glad that you brought that to light too, because it is important to realize, and because that's what I always say. I probably treat my patients better than I treat my own family, because I wouldn't want somebody to not treat my family well. So
you go Lockie on them.
I always try to tell people it's hard enough for most people to call 911 and put themselves in that position of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there to make it worse.
Right. Well, and it's their emergency. I may not feel like you need to call 911 because you stubbed your pinky toe on the table, but it's their emergency, and therefore respect that and do your job. And that's just, I don't know, that's a conversation we've had quite a bit with pretty much every person we've interviewed. So
And I used to tell the guys at the firehouse anytime we'd have a meeting or a rough call or anything like that, you're literally seeing these people on what to them is the worst day of their life. Your face, the first 5 words that you speak make a difference. Whether they know the next time they see you out in public, hey, that guy's a jerk, I don't want to deal with him, or hey, that guy was fantastic, I can't thank him enough for everything he did for me, Ma, who fell on the floor, or my wife who had a heart attack, or whatever the case may be. The first 5 words you say when you get on a scene just sets the tone the whole time. I'm a firm believer in that, because I've had people who didn't care for me. Maybe I said the wrong words, maybe I came off with the wrong tone. I've also had people that thank me for anytime they see me, still to this day, hey, thank you for what you did. Thank you for taking care of my loved one or me or whatever the case may be. So your tone really sets the precedent in the first 5 words that you say. So, but again, it's just remember what you say. If you're a listener, remember what you say. Remember how you act. Your actions speak way louder than words ever will. So, but so what challenges come along with balancing shift work, your family life, personal time? How do you navigate that balance?
Trial and error.
That's a good one.
amen, sister. That's yep.
Our biggest challenge right now is that Dad gets off at 1 a.m. and we have 2 5-month-olds.
Yeah.
And I get off at 9. So nighttime, the farm, everything falls on me. And it's created a dynamic in my marriage and my work life that has been difficult to navigate. I won't deny that in any sense. And a lot of days it's just reminding myself that I'm lucky to get to do the job that I do and have the kids and husband I have.
Right.
Even when it's hard.
So kind of, because we're going to be transitioning in here to some mental health stuff, did you have any postpartum depression or anything like that?
I have postpartum anxiety.
Okay.
It is a form of postpartum depression, of course. Mine was more, I know what this world can be, and I've seen the worst of it and I've seen the best of it.
Right.
And I struggled with knowing my kids were going to be in daycare 12 to 14 hours a day. We are very blessed with with Jamie, who keeps our girls.
Yes.
As you know, she's literally perfect.
Yes.
But it was a definite struggle to know that when I went back to work, there was no, like, come back for 3 days and you're going to have a week off. Let's work back up to a full-time schedule. It was hard stop. Here's your Friday. You're going to work for 3 days, have Monday off, work for 3 more days, and good luck.
Well, and it's so much guilt because, you have to work and you love your job and it is good for you to get out and have that type of a routine. But there is that guilty feeling. And then knowing how disgusting our world can be, now you're responsible for 2 little humans. I mean, it's very overwhelming. And then you throw in hormones, you throw in all that other stuff. And you are very blessed. And I'm glad you recognize that, because I think sometimes we do forget the good things, the blessings we do have in our life. And so I think and you're going to have challenges. You're going to have challenges when the girls start to talk, and you may not get to hear that first word or the first step or little things like that. But you have a good, healthy way of dealing with stuff. And I'm very proud to hear you say, and you're a very good example to have here to discuss the balance of being a new mom to not just 1 but 2 sweet little babies. And so there's going to be some good information that people can use from you, Maddy, and I appreciate you sharing that with us.
I appreciate you saying that, because some days as anybody does, the mental struggle of, is it good enough? Am I good enough?
Right.
Am I coping well enough to be a good wife and a good mother and a good provider?
Well, and I think that's where we fall short as human beings. It is okay, and I'm learning this. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago, and I do contribute that to age and hormones and just life and things that have happened in my life. But, it's okay to sit in your feelings. It's okay to feel like I'm not giving my best. I'm not doing my best, but don't sit there. Take a moment to reflect on what your glimmer is for the day. And you are so blessed and so lucky to come home to those sweet little healthy baby girls, a very supportive husband. And I think Kyle definitely needs a pat on the back for being supportive of you, because it is tough. It's tough being a young lady. It's tough being a new mom, and it's tough being in this job. So you are blessed. You're doing a great job. You're going to have bad days, but you've got this. You've got a good support system, and that's not many people have that.
Oh, I have reminded myself of that more times than I can count. And I've been extremely blessed in the realm of having a great husband, who just gets it. Even if it's just sitting on the phone with me from 10 till 1 when he gets home.
Right.
Because I have fussy babies and I just don't want to feel alone.
Right. Well, and you're going to have good days and bad days. And that's just the reality of it. There are good days and bad days. And it's okay to drive, from house one to your home and cry and show those emotions. It's okay. But you are doing a good job.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Well, now that we're getting into the mental health stuff, you actually just led us right into our next topic here. So mental health is an important conversation in EMS, and you've been in it for 10 years, so you know the stigma and the pressure of mental health, and sometimes in our area, it hasn't really been an open conversation for many of us. It's been a hidden fact that I truly think needs talked about, which is why we started this podcast. But so mental health it's an important conversation to have in EMS. What does that topic mean to you personally? Because you have been doing this for 10 years.
For me, it's for people to know that there's resource out there to help them. If I run a hard call, or I know somebody runs a hard call, I don't always cry, but I'll send a text message, hey, if you need an ear, I'm here. Mm-hmm. No pressure. We don't have to talk about details. If you just want to drive around and scream, I got you. If you need to cry, if you need a home-cooked meal, something that I can assist you with, I'm here. Because I haven't always had that as myself. Running hard calls, and like Lockie said, Rick Whaley and I ran a lot of things together that were not great. Mm-hmm. Very early on in my career, it went from nothing to everything, and then one weekend he gave me the nickname of Madam Mayhem, and it never left.
Yeah. Well, that nickname kind of goes with the podcast here.
It does.
You got Maddie Mayhem and Midwest Mayhem, so.
Yep. I have doctors from here to Barnes that call me Eminem.
Yeah. And she is not exaggerating.
I'm not.
Well, and so,
unfortunately.
And Maddie, like I said, you're not a stranger to me, and we had a moment of, we had to stop and restart or whatever. And you did talk about a recent call that played on your heart. But you and I spent a very hot day down in the creek one afternoon. And if you would, I would like for you to talk about that call a little bit. And I also know, and I hope you're okay with me sharing this, I know that you have had your struggles with mental health, both as a pre-provider and as a young lady. And so I think it's important, if you don't mind, to share some of that stuff with us, because it does go along. Maddie is the calls that this kid has ran, and mind you, she's young. She's one of the young ones that started out, and I know with my kids, you guys shouldn't have to see this. You shouldn't have to do this.
No.
But you did. So if you want to go ahead and kind of transition into this, if you want to give us a little bit of background on your mental health personally. If you don't, that's always, how it is. So let me kind of give you some things before you get going here. Some things, have there been moments in your career where the mental or emotional weight just felt heavy? What tools, your habits, your support systems, what keeps you grounded, and then we'll kind of go back in because when this story's told, you're going to talk about this person that told you to suck it up, you don't need to be crying. I want you to think about what you say to or what you would say to other EMS providers. And we'll go two different routes, being a mom, but also what do you do? What do you do to struggle? So there's going to be a lot in this segment here that we're going to talk about. So if you're ready let's get with the mental health part of it, because you do have a very big story to tell.
For sure.
So let's go ahead and tell us about that call then. Or wherever you want to start, kiddo. You start where you feel like where your heart's telling you to go.
Let's start back in high school. Because that is when my mental health really struggled.
Mm-hmm.
More so, I was bullied throughout high school by people who were supposed to be my friends. I had very difficult thoughts and very long conversations and not very good healthy coping mechanisms. And then I got into this field where I see horrible things and have really hard days, and I didn't know how to cope either.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, it wasn't great. I coped in many different ways, whether it be alcohol or whatever. It was never to an extent, but I did go out and drink. I spent nights at the bar, just to either forget or just in the name of I was young and in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lead up to running probably the most pivotal call of my career.
And
it was a
and mind
vehicle
you, she
accident.
said that this could have potentially been the career ender. This could have ended your career. Okay.
It was a vehicle accident. It did not page as a vehicle accident. It actually paged as a medical call.
Mm-hmm.
And they just keep talking, and then they upgrade to a full arrest, and then they said, no, it's not. And we're driving, and like we do in EMS, me and my partner, we're just kind of joking along. Like, dispatch doesn't even know what's going on. What are we walking into here? Little did I know that call would change my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I would lose friendships. I would have people quit talking to me. I would be blamed for this person losing their life for something that I just showed up to the aftermath to.
Right.
And then, I realized in the middle of doing CPR who this person was and who they were to me. And I had no choice but to keep going.
Right.
But I also had no choice but to stop because the injuries were so devastating. So we did. And I walked to my ambulance, and I got in the back, and I had tears rolling down my face, and another provider had showed up and didn't ask me why I was crying, but just said there was no reason for me to be crying. I needed to suck it up, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
They did not know the details, the why or the how, which would later come out, and they then apologized. But that's EMS.
Right.
People expect you just to suck it up. And there was no way in that call in that time that I could have sucked it up. And I was asked if I wanted to be sent home for the day. I said no. I probably should have been. Not that any of my other patients that night didn't receive top-notch care. But mentally, and where we need to shift to an EMS, which St. Francis County is improving when providers run these difficult calls or they run these hard calls, is making sure the resources are there to providers work through it, because I had nothing.
Right.
I called my mom, and of course I couldn't tell her any details. She had known the surrounding of what had happened through Facebook and other things. And she knows she can't ask questions, she knows I can't give her specifics, but she just listened to me cry. I walked around our house floor base, and I screamed for about 3 minutes while the rest of my shift cleaned our ambulance. And I zipped my boots up and I went back to work.
Yep. Because that's what we're supposed to do.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
I ran this call very early on in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I had been a paramedic for barely a year at this point.
Oh, wow.
And it definitely could have ended my career. And it almost did. I did not know how I was going to continue to be a paramedic and do this job day in and day out. Besides, I'm just stubborn.
Right.
Whether that's the way to handle it or not, I was too stubborn to quit.
Sometimes that becomes a post to lean on, because my stubbornness is what kept me in the fire service for so long.
Well, and that's
And my stubbornness allowed me to find healthy coping mechanisms now, 10 years into this career.
Right. Well,
which I'm super grateful for.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because that's, unfortunately, in this line of work, we do have a tendency to turn to alcohol. And like you said, for that night, it numbs everything and it's fine, but it's usually 10 times worse. And I know I've had that experience where I went and relived the entire call, and it wasn't good. That wasn't a healthy way to talk about it or to deal with it. But when you said going back and you didn't go home that day, do you think it would have changed your mental health had you been sent home that day?
I do.
Okay.
For the worse, in my case.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody knew what was going on, and everybody knew where I lived.
Right.
But when I was at work, I was safe. Nobody knew which base I was at.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have to face everybody that was connected to this call.
Right.
While I was at work, at least. Then again, on the flip side, looking back as a provider, going home probably would have been the best, or going to talk to somebody, having a actual debrief is what I wish would have happened looking back, where I had a place to get my feelings and emotions out and was able to work through them instead of feeling thoughts of blame and just feeling like I should have done more, even though logically I know I couldn't have.
Well, and that's something too, for those of you that listen to us and may not understand what we mean by a debrief. After a very serious call like that, usually, and it doesn't have to be a very serious call. We've had what some people would think, oh, you're really going to go in and talk about that. But a debrief can go, it's kind of got different aspects. It can be of how you treated the patient with medications, whatever, but then it's also can be that emotional side of it. So what happens typically, I know for us, and I think it's kind of the same way, because we actually depend on each other at Washington County and St. Francis County Ambulance Districts with our resources of debriefing. And that's where anyone and everyone involved in the call comes in and we discuss it. If they want to touch base, hey, are you okay? Let's get a crew to send this crew home, and just kind of to prevent suicide, to prevent the guilt. And so probably then, did you all even have any type of a debrief at all?
Nope.
Okay. And that, I mean, that's pretty much typical, because I know we've talked to other people, that didn't have the debriefs. And I will have to say, and I can't 100% say this about St. Francis County, I can't about Washington, but I know enough about St. Francis County. It is amazing the changes that have occurred with a debrief. This was actually a conversation we had this week too. And Maddy, I want to ask your opinion of this. Do you think the debrief helps the second you come back to the station? Or would it be one of those, hey, are you okay? Let's get the rig back together, debrief, or let's give it 10 hours, let's give it 10 minutes. What do you think is the best way to do it?
I think it depends on the situation and the call.
It's situational, absolutely.
I do. I think there's certain calls where by the time you get done, yeah, you can debrief.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably not those calls that, like, yes, they were hard, Like the call I referenced with flying both my patients out, like, we talked about it immediately afterwards.
Right.
Nothing necessarily went wrong, but we talked about where we could have improved, like, is everybody okay, because it didn't sound like it ended up, like, okay, cool. In that situation that I'm referencing to, that call of my career there, I think debriefing immediately after would not have been beneficial, because I was so far down a rabbit hole of just making myself numb
Right.
to deal with what I needed to deal with at that time, that I would have never actually been able to work through any of the emotions or got to a point where I could listen to coping mechanisms that are healthy and put them to use at that time.
Well, and that's what I, in some things I've been through, both at work and just life in general. At the time, you could have told me stuff, but I'm not going to listen to it. I wasn't ready for it. And that's one thing that people need to understand about a debrief. And I mean people, us as providers. A debrief isn't to come in there and tell me, well, Lockie, you did this, and this wrong. That's not what a debrief is about. Because like you said, with your motor vehicle accident with the multiple patients there, it was to come in, what could we have done differently? What maybe, what, and on all aspects, could we have communication been different? Whatever. That's also part of it. And I think sometimes as providers, we feel like a debrief is, well, you're going to come in and rake me over the coals. That's not what a debrief is about. It is about providing the best care for our patients, but it is also checking in on our providers and their mental health. And, we had just this last week, we had a pretty bad call, and one of the kids, she's walking by and no, you don't need to go out and clean up the ambulance. I do. That's what I need to do. And that's how I am. I like to go out and get things back and put together and have that time. Washing an ambulance after a bad call is the best thing for me. Leave me alone, and then I'm ready to talk about it. And just now opening up that and saying, are you okay? Yes. It doesn't mean that we have to continuously, or are you sure you're okay? It's just knowing that someone else is there, and when you're ready, we're here. And that's what, that's the climate that we are trying to change. And I have to give it, like I said, more about St. Francis County, but I think both agencies are really getting better at creating a better climate for mental health.
One thing I do want to throw in on that is, I don't necessarily know that I don't think they were trying to neglect it at all. I just truly don't think our area had any kind of resource to provide.
Well, and I think we don't want to, because it does put a target on your back. I don't care what anybody says. And I am a crier. I will cry if I'm happy. I will cry if I'm sad. I will cry if I'm mad. And I can tell you, you can't feel the tears coming down my cheeks, but I can tell you there's a difference between my sad tears and my pissed off tears.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it's okay. It is okay to go in and say, hey, this call is bothering me. And that's where we have to lean on each other, and then go and do the next step. And sometimes it is, you're beating yourself up. We had one of the kids, they had a motorcycle accident, and Maddy, it's kind of like you said, you exhausted everything. You did everything right. They didn't put a pelvic binder on this patient. Okay, that pelvic binder would not have saved that person's life.
But it was something that stuck with them.
It stuck with them. And that's where we need to be able to just talk about it. And unfortunately, I'm not a cigarette smoker, but I went home this week and I bought a pack of cigarettes that I guarantee will be thrown away and be stale, but I took 3 puffs off a cigarette. And it's okay, because I didn't go to the bar, I didn't do anything like that, but we're able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think changing the narrative that just because you talk about something or you say something's affecting you mentally, that you're suicidal or you're a danger to yourself, or that more steps need to be taken other than just having a conversation and finding a healthy coping mechanism.
Well, and that's one
before it gets to that point.
right. And I had actually contacted my person that, and I said, hey, I'm struggling, and it was hard for me to do because I already have a target on my back. Everybody knows that I went off the rails for a while and was not who I normally am. And that was his first question. Well, are you in a crisis situation? And it is okay. I think we all kind of have days sometimes that we just wish that we didn't have to deal with it. But that doesn't mean that I'm suicidal or homicidal or anything like that. It's just nice to know that I have somebody that I can call and say, hey, I'm struggling. I know with Tyler and Maria, I could call them at any point and say, hey, guys, I am kind of sad. Can I come out and play with the dogs for an hour? It's not a big deal. And that's where we have to, as providers, change that. And I think we're headed in that direction. I really, truly do. And I think that's it's awesome that it's also where we're making it comfortable for people. And I've said, and I had to learn this the hard way, don't, oh, well, they're just doing this to be dramatic, or they weren't even there. Okay, but that's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair to make that comment. And I think just having, a place that you feel safe, and I know work is my safe place too, Maddy. There are times I know that I can go to work and I'm safe. And I like that. I like that I have a place that I can go and cry and scream and do you have a cigarette? Go out and take 2 puffs of it. And I'm okay that I'm not being judged.
Are you going to start requiring me to give you cigarettes?
No, that's a disgusting habit, but it was just something that I felt like that's what I needed to do. It was that or, but...
Oh, no, I get it.
But yes, and maybe I will. You don't know, but... Well, so, Maddy, what do you do now to kind of work through... You do have a bad call. What happens now in your district that you wish would have been there for your call?
So I haven't had a call to that level.
Well, you probably just cursed yourself. You know that.
I probably did, but it's every day. So
right.
It's okay. But I know that in my husband's instance, having a very bad call, they set up a debrief for everybody. They gave them the option, what do you need to do? They got taken out of service for a little bit to kind of decompress. And those are things I wish would have been implemented when I've had my previously bad calls, where I really felt affected of, if we back up talking about the call with the baby, I advocated for myself hard. I advocated for Kyle hard. I called the on-duty supervisor that night, and I said, we will not be in service for the rest of the shift.
Uh-huh.
This is what happened. We are coming back to clean ourselves up, to clean our ambulance up, and we are not going in service. Given our shift was ending in like an hour, so we didn't go out of service for this extended period of time. But I advocated for myself because I knew at that point that there was no way that I could be the provider I needed to be for the rest of the day.
And that is huge. When you can recognize that, that is huge. And I don't think we realize those little things in our mental health journeys, that is huge. When you can truly recognize, hey, I need to walk out of the room. Hey, I can't do this. I'm not going to be a good provider. That is amazing.
That prevents burnout is what that prevents. And it's, again, if you get burnout in the job, we just ask that you kindly take a step back, take a break, take a breather, take whatever you need, but don't get one of us or just take time for yourself. It's okay. Nobody's going to judge you. And if they do, who gives a shit? Nobody gives a shit if they judge you. Who cares? Do your thing. Take the time you need. That is the best thing you can do in this line of work. Mm-hmm. And talking a little bit about burnout, burnout is something many paramedics experience. What does burnout look like in EMS from your perspective? Because you are a mom, you're a wife. I know you have your days where you're like, man, maybe this job is just a little much. Everybody has those days. So what does that look like for you?
dread is the best way I can put it. I dread getting up and putting my uniform on. I dread clocking in. I dread what the day is going to bring. And that's when I know I'm getting burnt out, because I love my job. I love being a paramedic.
So,
and some days I'm a pretty decent one. I'll give myself that much credit.
She's a very good
So
one.
I know that when I start to dread those simplest things that make going to work, that I'm hitting a point of burnout that I need to reset, no matter how that looks. And usually it's just changing my mindset. That has helped me a ton with recurrent burnout that comes with doing this job for so long, and the redundancy that kind of comes into play, because those big traumas and calls where you really get to use your brain and you feel like you've made a difference are sometimes far and few between.
So would you say those are the warning signs for yourself, as you needing to change your mental outlook on things?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, and like I said, I cannot stress how important it is to recognize it. Maddie, did you go to therapy for any of your mental health issues?
I did not.
Okay.
I probably needed to. And then I met my husband, who has been through therapy. And he gave me a lot of tools that I was already working on. I really did get through it. I really reflected into my Bible, into my faith a lot. Talking to Kyle and talking to people that I had trusted and who I knew I could be as sad or as broken as I wanted to be with, without the fear of judgment or career harm. Made a big difference for me, because I really felt like I would open up. From previous attempts at therapy when I was in high school, knew that I would probably really struggle to find a therapist that I would be completely honest with and open with.
Right.
As an own self-reflection. So I took my own path of finding things that worked for me personally. And did a lot of research, a lot of reflecting, a lot of prayer, a lot of talking to find ways to cope that were healthier in a sense.
Well, and that's the hardest thing to do, whether you pay a professional or take it on your own with, a support system, is breaking yourself down and seeing, okay, I'm the problem here, or this is what my issue is. And I think, and I appreciate you. Did we lose her?
No,
Are you there?
She's
okay.
Still there.
I'm here.
Okay. I thought there was something wrong with it?
It was just telling me to extend the call.
Oh, okay. I appreciate you mentioning Faith, our dispatcher that we interviewed last week. It leans very hard on her faith, which is great. I know it can be a touchy subject and whatever, but it's good to know that that you fell back on that. And therapy isn't for everyone. That is one of the things, but at least you have a good support system and able to reflect on things. So
absolutely.
And I always like to ask, because I think majority of our people are not therapy people. They're really not. I love to talk, and I'm kind of like you though, Maddie. I have struggled finding someone that understands. Yeah, you can understand like a normal person, but we're not normal people in this line of work. I never really, I guess, was normal, but
no,
I'm definitely a different breed. But I mean, it is hard to sit down and to explain to a person, like Tyler said, you are with somebody on the worst day or the best day of their life. It's very hard to explain to a person what we see.
Or feel.
Right. Who doesn't do this line of work.
Which is kind of why we started this podcast. Not only do we have providers listening to it, we have people who don't know how the emergency service field works. So we like to kind of paint a picture, if you would, to give them an outreach for not only our providers, but our listeners as well. So I feel like we're doing something good here. If we can just save one life, if that's what we always say here. That's Lockie's favorite lines, my favorite lines, what we stand by, and what we stand behind here on Midwest Mayhem. So, Maddy, what changes would you like to see in EMS when it comes to mental health support and preventing burnout?
The stigma that surrounds it. There's always this thought process, like Lockie said, that you're going to paint a target on your back because you're not mentally stable, and how can you treat a patient if you're feeling these things?
Well, and
And that's just not true. I could be having the worst day, but my patients are still going to get 100%.
Well, and sometimes, honestly, that is my therapy. I can't, I wake up, I'm not in the greatest of mood, and I can go, and I'm just doing simple human kindness by doing this job, and somebody thanks me. Well, thank you for picking me up out of the floor. And so that is, that's something that is helpful. It makes me feel better about if I'm having a bad day.
For sure. Normally, by the time I get to work on a bad day, per se, or a day that I'm dreading, we'll run a patient who's just cantankerous or absolutely hilarious, and they turn everything around because it just reminds you that humanity is still alive.
I had a situation that a coworker, and I'm not a big fan of this person anyway, and it's been a while back, but said that that my experience with the bad call I had was just an excuse for my bad behavior. And I always felt like there were some people that truly, I felt like they were setting me up just for me to flip shit again. And we can't do that. That's what I mean by the target. And like you said, there's a target on our back. You're dealing with a psych patient, and you are, dealing with this motor vehicle accident. There's fire trucks, there's helicopters, all this stuff going on, and you can't even handle getting up in the mornings and functioning. And so it does put a target on your back. And that's where we have to come together and not let that happen anymore.
Agreed. We're going to keep losing people to just quitting this career or to taking their own lives because they don't feel like there's a way out, and that they can't talk to anybody because we've created such a stigma around mental health and how we deal with hard calls or just critical calls in general. So that ultimately needs to change.
Absolutely. So with you saying that, I want to make a very clear blanket statement right now, and Lockie, feel free to join in on this with me. So I spoke about this on our last episode. I feel like it needs talked about again. You and I have had conversations about this. Whether you're with an agency, you are an agency, you know who I am, you know who Lockie is, you know what we're doing, you don't like what we're doing, don't listen. I've been told numerous times by numerous different people that I speak with, because I talk to quite a few, if you don't like our podcast, please don't listen. If you don't like what we're doing here, don't listen. Don't like mental health? It's probably because you need your own help. And you won't seek it. You feel free to talk to us. I'll talk to you. I don't care if I like you or not. I'll talk to you. But if you don't like what we're doing, please don't put what the mission we have down because you don't like one of us. You don't like what we're standing for. Lockie, would you like to say something on that subject? And
it's people... Maddy, you are officially, whether you want to be part of the club or not, but you're number 9 resource. And you are somebody that I know if I have run across a fellow clinician that is a new mom and trying to handle things, or a spouse, you have now become a resource. And therefore, that's what we're doing. It isn't to get attention, by no means.
No.
And it takes a lot of courage for all of our people to come and talk about, because you're bearing your soul by being on here with us. And like Tyler said, if you all don't like what we're doing, that's fine. And
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it is. It's fine. But certainly don't put down what we're doing, because I never, ever, ever want to get a phone call again like I did I just don't want it to happen. So, and I apologize for, this is part of my
We haven't had this in a couple episodes.
But Maddy, you have officially joined the club as a resource, and I hope that
That's
you know,
okay with me.
Yep, and I don't want another phone call. I don't want to read about another person. And I know talking about this doesn't make people want to go out and commit suicide. If nothing else, it does help, and it does prevent it. And it takes our 9 voices of valor to be brave and come and do this.
Yeah,
and so thank you, Maddy, for sharing your story, for putting it out there. And thank you to Kyle for being an amazing husband and a resource, because you are a very special person, Maddy. You know, I am a firm believer that God puts us where we need to be, and anybody that comes in contact with you is very blessed. And I am very honored to know you, not only as a friend, but as a provider. So thank you.
That makes me cry. Take it, Lockie. I'm hormonal these days.
I know, sis,
that?
me too. But it is, and I don't think that we talk. And you can, Tyler. I had a whole thing ready to just blast on Facebook, and Tyler was like, "Okay, calm your Barton down," because it does bother me. Because people, you know, it hurts. Suicide hurts. Mental health hurts, and it's the worst place to be in your life when you feel like you have absolutely no one. And I don't want anybody to ever feel that loneliness as long as I walk the face of the earth. I don't care if you call me in the middle of the night. I don't care if you stop me in Walmart. Please, please, please choose yourself, choose your family, and choose life.
Absolutely.
Please.
Another thing I want to throw out there is with the statement that I made previous to this, for one, shame on the people that I'm hearing this about, because it's not like normal civilians I'm hearing it. It's entities. Entities are having a problem with us doing this. So if you're an entity and have a problem, feel free to give me a call. My cell phone is posted everywhere, and I will have a chat with you all day, every day about this. Again, don't listen. I just want to make that blanket statement all the way across the board. I don't care what you think about my podcast, what Lockie and I do here. I think what we're doing is a good thing. We've been told that by quite a few people. That Maddy is our 9th guest here. We've had 9 people trust us with their story, and we are booked out until April, if that makes you feel any better. So until April, you get to hear this. So keep on listening. Thanks for the support, because even if you don't like it, you care enough to listen. So thank you so much. Anywho, we'll get back to our interview. Sorry, Maddy, I just wanted to throw that out there.
But Maddy, I do appreciate you sharing your story, because you also reflected on the fact that you were bullied
Absolutely.
in high school, and we've not really touched on that.
That's another subject.
And that, you know, I really am proud of you for doing this, and for just being another resource for us, and sharing and being honest in your feelings and what you do every day in this job.
Mm-hmm. I greatly appreciate you being on here with us, Maddy. It means a whole lot. And if Lockie trusts you, I definitely trust you, because I trust most of Lockie's opinions of people and who she trusts. So with that,
let's go back here. And one
ahead.
thing that I want you to answer is, what would you say to other EMS providers, especially moms, who may be struggling but hesitant to speak up?
Find your people, whether it be coworkers, husbands, friends, myself, if you're listening, and just talk. But be open on the flip side of that to hearing what that person has to say, and sometimes those aren't always the funnest conversations to have. Most of my friends will tell you they do not come to me if they want somebody to coddle them, for lack of a better term.
No, but sometimes we need
I'll
that.
I'll support your feelings, but I'm also not afraid to call you out on them.
Right.
Or on the truths that need to be told, and however that looks. Not that I'm a mean person, not that I come at you mean, but I will always preface it with, this is how I see it, or this is how I would deal with it. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to make you feel worse about a situation. But maybe here's another side of it that you didn't think about.
No, and everybody needs that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is something, you know, and I have been aware of, there are certain people that I know if I just need to be hugged and told, oh yeah, you're doing everything right, even though I might not be, I know who to go to. But then I also know, and my daughter, unfortunately, can be one of them. If I want to be told the truth, I'm probably going to cry. It may hurt my feelings, but it's going to give me a different perspective. We all need those people in our life, and that's okay. And now that I know that you can be that person, Maddie, you may be getting a phone call to give me a reality check.
That's fine. I'm pretty good at this.
So I'm thinking you take the weeks and I'll take her on the weekends, and that's how we'll work this.
So then, yeah, because I have said more than once this week, because we're filling out all the new paperwork for the start of the year and stuff, and I'm like, I need an adult. I need an adult to help me. So then, Maddie, with that, what about as a mother, the younger mother, what advice do you have for them?
My biggest advice, and this was told to me by one of my nurses, and it's kind of off the wall. It's okay if your baby cries. I think as a new mom, when we hear our child or children crying, we want to fix it. We want to know what's wrong. We want to soothe them and make it all better. And it's not always that easy. Whether it's just laying your baby down to make a bottle or go get the diaper changing supplies, or just to take a minute because they've been crying for 25 and you don't know what's wrong and you don't know how to fix it, and you've tried a bottle and you've tried butt changes and all the things. Sometimes it's just okay if they cry. It's okay if they cry while you take a minute to cry for yourself. It's okay to cry with them.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
She's got two of them to deal with.
So, and I have to know, just because I'm a gram now and the babies are the best. Are they just the most neatest thing in the entire world? I love the stuff you put, the pictures you have of your dad, and he is, I bet those babies are going to be absolutely rotten.
They are. They're already rotten. He's the best paw. My mom's the best ma.
Oh, I just love that. So what is the
I've
biggest...
been extremely blessed.
Yes. Well, so what is the biggest difference between them that you've noticed?
We have one of each of us. We have a me and we have a Kyle.
Well, I know look-wise, because I went in the other day to pick up Winry, and I was like, yep, we got a little Maddie and a little Kyle right here.
Yep.
So they were pretty chilling. In fact, I think they may have been napping when I was in there the last time to see them. So
Yep, they love their Miss Jamie time. Cece, my youngest baby, she's gonna be more like your dad. She's a little more stoic. You really gotta work to kind of get a smile and a laugh out of her. She's overall my more serious baby. Evie, who takes after me, that girl talks all day long.
Oh, I just love it. I love it.
Well, without further ado, I think we're going to get into our rapid fire round. Maddie, have you listened to one of our episodes before?
I have.
No, have you done the question about the Valor?
No,
okay, so
I saved the best for last.
That Alani's kicking in. My 200 milligrams of caffeine.
You're squirrel on crack. So if you've listened to one of our episodes before, which one did you listen to? I'm curious.
I've listened to parts of all of them. I try to listen when we're on transfers.
Oh, there you go. That's a good time to listen to podcasts when you ain't got nothing else going on.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, hang on a second. That's going to red flag.
Well,
whenever we're transferring people, we are constantly checking the monitor and vitals. We're not just back there listening to podcasts, Tyler.
I meant when she's driving, Lockie. Jeez.
Yes, I usually listen when I'm driving more than anything.
Okay.
There you go. I could picture it right there in my head.
Well, because I can automatically see like three faces that are saying, yeah, those ambulance drivers, they're not even... I mean, I've seen TikToks of these people, so come on now.
Thanks for kicking my ass on that.
Yes.
I appreciate it. So you know how rapid fire round works if you've listened to this section of it. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, spit off the first thing that comes to mind. We're going to learn right about 9 to 10 things about you really quickly. And are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Coffee or energy drink before a shift?
Coffee.
Perfect. country music, rap music, rock music, gospel music before a shift or during a shift?
Country or gospel?
There you go. Day shift or night shift? You kind of answered this question already, but go ahead.
I'm a night shifter through and through.
Oh, but she works day shift, so that's kind of odd.
I do.
But she got
Babies.
She got the babies.
But-
There we go, the babies. Let's see. Favorite piece of gear on the truck. So, an ambulance has all kinds of neat things to play with. So I always like to answer that question, or ask that question.
I like our video laryngoscopes.
That sounds really neat. It's a big word. I don't know if I can pronounce that. One thing you can always carry, or one thing you always carry in your bag that makes you feel comfortable that you just always grab.
Trauma shears.
I think that's a go-to for quite a few of us. I love trauma shears. I cut everything with them.
I do pizza even. I'll do pizza with They're not like what I use on the because Aerovac, all the air ambulances
Everybody
provide.
brings us stuff all the time.
Yes, so yes, I'm not using trauma shears from this shift.
Thank you
Tyler.
thank you for clarifying there, Locke. Well, it's funny because there's
I don't get sick very often. Maybe that is why.
there's a guy at work that uses his pocket knife for everything, and I mean everything. Cut concrete, cut a steak with. I mean, it's gross. Anywho, let's see here. Music or silence on the drive home?
Music.
Hardest part of being a paramedic?
Paperwork.
I knew she was going to say that. I knew it.
Best part of being a paramedic?
Treating patients.
Perfect. Mom life or medic life, which is harder?
Mom life.
Mom life? That's crazy considering you deal with a bunch of stuff at work, but it's interesting though. Not everybody knows that. To me, I would think medic life's harder, but I'm also not a parent, so I don't know. One word that describes EMS to you?
Resilience.
Resilience.
EMS providers show up. Good days, bad days. Rain, shine, snow. Extremely hot or extremely cold. We show up patient for patient and do the job.
Very good.
Very good one. I think at 10 we're gonna cut it up out of all of our episodes and we're gonna mash them together and we're gonna have a whole thing of. I think it'll be really neat to do.
I do too.
We'll do that every 10. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. So we asked this question to everybody. You're our 9th guest here on Voices of Valor, so this will be our 9th answer. What does the word valor mean to you both personally and professionally?
Valor means to be on both levels courage. The courage to keep showing up as a mom, as a provider, as a coworker, even when it's not fun and really hard some days. And to be the best version of myself that I can put forward in all of those aspects. So that maybe somebody else feels just not so alone.
Good.
That is a good one. That's another one yet we have not heard here. We haven't heard any repeats yet, have we?
I don't think so.
Perfect. We will definitely do a mashup when we hit episode number 10, which will be Dylan Minor, and his comes out towards the end of January. So we'll do a mashup with those. Great answer, Maddy. I'm so glad that you were able to do this with us. So we're starting a new thing here. Like we've done this the last couple of episodes we've done here. Is there another first responder, paramedic, or community hero you'd like to nominate to come on Voices of Valor, talk with Lockie and I, and just share their story so other people can hear it? Who do you have in mind?
I'm going to nominate my husband. I think it would be good to hear from his side. He was in the military for quite a few years as a Navy corpsman and then come to civilian life medicine.
Perfect.
Dealing with all of that entails with that.
Yeah, that'd be really neat. It'd be like having two sides to every story, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, and there's a lot of perspective there.
Absolutely. Veteran, now a paramedic.
A spouse that does the same job. And I think
we can hear his side of
So
things.
Kyle, this is your invitation.
Yep. Maddy knows how to sign up. You can go to our website, www.midwestmayhempodcast.com. Click Voices of Valor. You can sign up there. And as soon as you sign up, man, I will be reaching out to you. And I know Maddy will push you to do this. So we look forward to talking to you, man. So, Maddy, I truly want to say thank you. And I'll let Lockie say her piece on this. I'll shut up towards the end of this. But thank you for sharing your story with us today, your dedication in EMS. You've been a paramedic for 10 years with the local county here. Your honesty about balance and the way you continue to show up for your community Obviously, it means a lot to you. You've said a lot throughout this episode. And thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for being a great mom and being an outreach for younger children, for showing what a good mom can be in a job like this. So this is what Voices of Valor is all about. I'm so excited that we got to do this with you. I'm very thankful you took time out of your day to be here with us and share your story out publicly. And I'll let Lockie say her.
Yes, Maddie, thank you so much. I think that you definitely gave some different perspectives, both as a young person in this job, a mom, a spouse, and I appreciate what you do, kiddo. You're pretty amazing.
Thank you, ma'am.
We greatly appreciate you, Maddie. Thank you so much. For those of you who listen, a couple things coming up. We've got, I want to say a huge thank you again, and I forgot to do this at the beginning of the episode, so I do apologize, but a huge thank you to our sponsors, Checkpoint Coffee, Canteen of Potosi, Frontline Armory in Farmington. Beyond grateful for their support in us doing this. They've stood behind our mission. Adam from Checkpoint actually did an episode with us at the end of season 1. Great guest, great speaker, has done a lot for the community. Nathan over at Frontline Armory, he's a veteran, takes care of the community. He's actually, both of these businesses are actually going to be helping us with the free first responder mental health event we have coming up in March. Checkpoint Coffee and Canteen, it was announced today that they will be there providing free coffee to all the first responders there that day. Frontline Armory has got, they're going to have all kinds of giveaway prizes they're getting from their vendors, working really hard with all of us to get this thing done. So we are working really hard with Leadwood Fire Protection District to get this promoted for them and work with our sponsors as well. And it's just going to be a great event. I'm so excited to have it. But again, that free first responder mental health seminar is March 28th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Lockie and I will be live on location. We'll be broadcasting live that day. So come see us, come talk to us. We will be able to sign you up for Voices of Valor that day. We'll have all kinds of stuff to give away. You can take pictures with us if you want. And I think Lockie's even offering to autograph people's shirts now.
Absolutely.
So, Lockie, we're going to get kind of famous, I think. Probably not. But anyways.
At least it's for a positive thing for once.
Absolutely. It's not a mug shot, so that's something good. So another thing with that, we are looking for door prizes. So local businesses, if you want to sponsor our podcast, you're more than welcome to. You can check that out on our website under the advertising tab. But we are looking for door prizes for this event to give away to our first responder friends. This day is all about them, all about mental health. 2 guest speakers, food trucks, vendors, all kinds of stuff we've got going on. But, excuse me, but we do, we're looking for gift cards, hats, shirts, products, services, anything you're willing to give away. And we can put into a basket. Your business will be recognized for making that donation. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Lockie. You can reach out to us on the podcast page. And we'll work whatever we can out with you to get those things lined up. So if you want your business to show that you support first responders, here's your chance. We're thankful for whatever you may donate with us. We greatly appreciate you guys. We do have merchandise for sale. If you want to support the podcast, you can go on our website, again, www.midwestmayhempodcast.com. Click the merch tab. You've got shirts, hoodies, tumblers, glasses, stickers. We got all kinds of good stuff on there. Anything that you guys buy helps support the podcast. It keeps it going. It keeps people like Maddie and Tommy and Brandon and everybody else that's joined us. It keeps them talking. It keeps the podcast going. And it all goes right back into them. So anything you buy is a big support, and I love to see people wear our merchandise. You guys are great. Thank you guys so much for everything you have done and supported us with here so far. Maddie, thank you again for being with us.
And
thank you guys for having me.
Yes, thank you. And I encourage anybody that wants to share their story to please get in touch with us, because if we can help one and save one, our mission has been accomplished.
Absolutely. So you can sign up for Voices of Valor if you're a first responder or veteran at www.midwestmayhempodcast.com. Click the Voices of Valor tab. Our sign-up's down there at the bottom. Just click the tab. The second you sign up, you'll be getting a word from me, and we'll get you on the schedule. We are booked out until April now, so we got quite a few episodes to do. Mm-hmm. And we will be going to Frontline Armory. They've offered to let us record with our guest on camera over there at their facility, and I'm so excited. So I'm going to have to start putting some kind of mask over or something. Anywho, thank you guys so much. Maddie, thank you again so much. I cannot wait to talk to you guys again. We are off next week, but we'll be back the week after. So I'm your host, Tyler.
And I'm Lockie.
And we love you guys so much. We'll talk to you here soon. Until then, keep it real, keep the mayhem going, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Midwest Mayhem Podcast. You can find us on socials, Facebook, TikTok, and X. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio, or directly on our website at www.midwestmayhempodcast.com. On our website, you can find merchandise for sale, including t-shirts, hoodies, tumblers, stickers, and more. All merchandise sales go directly back into supporting this mission and helping support first responders. You can also find mental health resources, learn more about your hosts, and explore everything Midwest Mayhem has to offer. Thank you all for listening to the Midwest Mayhem Podcast, where we turn courage into conversation.